The fact that you're using your debit card every day for everyday purchases is a sign that you could be financially irresponsible. A few years ago, I found out that I had an issue with controlling my money. And I started realizing that I was only using my debit card because I didn't think that I actually had control of my spending habits and of my patterns. Now, obviously, this could mean something totally different from you, and that statement could bring you back. But let me explain why I think that using a credit card, at least in my opinion, is actually a far better approach when it comes to building real wealth, leveraging not only your money, but leveraging the bank's money so that you can reap the rewards of things that you were already going to money for, like pay bills, gas, travel, things like that. So now you're reaping rewards on the back end. But you also have, in my opinion, a far better relationship with money when you use credit versus only using cash. You see, using debit cards versus credit cards doesn't necessarily give you the same added protection that you're going to get if, let's say, you're using your credit card. Let's say that right now you were to lose your credit card. And I know this because this happened to me about 2 years ago when I was Christmas shopping with my family. I lost my debit card and in one of the stores, can't really remember where, the hustle and bustle of the holidays. You know what it's like. I think since then, I've kind of migrated over to shopping online anyways. But even though at that time, and by the way, this is before masks, this is before social distancing, this is 2 years ago. So the hustle and bustle of being in the malls was way more crowded than what you'll kind of see now in the stores. So I try to backtrack my steps to see, okay, where exactly did I lose my card? I walked into 2 different stores at the mall that I can remember. Okay, I shopped here, I didn't shop here, I bought here, I didn't buy there, but I couldn't find it. And so lo and behold, I end up getting an alert over on my cell phone, pretty much a message from my bank letting me know that someone had made a purchase with my debit card, but it didn't seem like anything that I would buy. So I pretty much had to get on a call with the rep, let them know, hey, look, that's not me. Can you please dispute that? Or can you please go ahead and stop that transaction, send me out a new card, right? Thank God that I already understood this concept of debit cards doesn't carry the same safety as a credit card, because I only had in that debit card, and to this day, I only carry a certain amount of cash. So they were only able to take out maybe like $200-300 at the absolute most, right? But here was the issue that I had with that, and here's where I really started having that moment of awakening when it came to debit card protection. It took, for a measly $200-300, it took about a week and a half to get that money back. Now, I know that everyone's situation is a little bit differently. Yours could have been maybe that you got that money back right away. For my situation, maybe for my bank, maybe because of the time of the year, there was a lot of disputes going on. It took 2 to 3 weeks. Again, $200 to $300 isn't a lot of money, but it still is money, especially if now I would have kept $2,000, $3,000, even $4,000 in my bank account. They would have wiped that out clean. The other side of that is when it does come to disputes, if I'm using a credit card and there is a fraudulent account that's done on it, the transaction part or the dispute part of that transaction is a lot better. So if I tell someone, hey, I didn't buy this Gucci sweater for $5,000, can you guys please reimburse me? There's 2 things that happen. 1, that reimbursement is a lot quicker because there's better protection. And 2, that money was never necessarily mine, which brings me to my second point. If we are using credit over only using debit card every single day, then we are starting to build trust with banks, which eventually we are going to be leveraging their money versus using our money. Now, I know the stigma. I know the conversations that are had around the dinner table. I know some of the gurus out there where they're going to preach to you that using a credit card is a trap. I personally don't think that using a credit card is a trap. I, on the other hand, think that using a credit card is actually a trampoline for your financial gains. Here's the reason for that. If I'm only using the money that I have allotted to me, that could make you feel as if there is a safety net there. But if I eventually want to build a relationship with the bank and I get used to paying them back on time, I haven't carried a balance in years, I pay off my balances in full and I still get the rewards in full every single month, then at that point, banks start to extend out to me heavy or higher lines of credit, which means that I now have access to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars than what I just have sitting in my bank account right now. Not getting any interest, not getting paid rewards off of, not necessarily building any relationship with banks. Because remember, unfortunately, the way that the credit system is built, whether we like it or not, it all boils down to how we manage and how we steward our relationships with people that lend us money. I've noticed a common trend of whenever someone says, I don't use credit cards because it's a trap, or I don't like using other people's money because, being a borrower is a slave to the lender. There is another side of that we have to keep in mind, is that if you do borrow money, it is your moral obligation as a human being to pay that person back, which is something else that I had to really come to an agreement with myself, that if I borrow something from someone, whatever their interest is, I'm going to pay them back before that interest even hits, because I want to take advantage of that extended line of credit, and I want that reporting over onto my credit. Now, when it comes to building credit, a lot of people are going to say, well, you just need one credit card. I have an 800 credit score and I use my debit card for everything. That is truth, and that also is a bit of a lie, and here's why. Yes, you could have an 800 credit score, but the 800 credit score doesn't necessarily carry the same weight as someone that maybe has 4 or 5 different lines of credit. So they have their auto loan, they have maybe their mortgage, and then they have 2 or 3 different credit cards, one at $5,000, one at $10,000, and one at $15,000. Even if their credit is a 700, that person is going to have a higher chance of getting more credit extended to them than someone with the 800 credit score. I've preached this quite a bit on my channel, and I will say it again. I'm not a big fan of just having a nice, fancy, shiny 800 credit score that shows up on your screen if you're not going to do anything with it. That 3-digit score is nothing more than a code so that you can access rooms that you wouldn't have access to other than if you wouldn't have money to access it. Meaning, sometimes having cash, kind of like if you're going out to rent an apartment, means absolutely nothing if you have poor credit. And of course, we couldn't touch on credit without talking about the rewards. Obviously, when it comes to using credit, you know that you have companies out there like Amex. When you have an Amex card, you're going to get up to a 4x points for every dollar that you spend if you are on the business side. Here's why this gets interesting for me, and here's why I enjoy this part of using credit when it comes to leveraging and growing businesses. You are going to pretty much get paid to spend money on things that you were already planning on spending money on. So you mean to tell me that I'm going to get paid in my business, not just from the products, not just from the marketing, not just from the promotions that I do, but I'm also going to get paid by using your money instead of mine? Oh, I'm out of here. It's over. I'm using that and I'm taking that to the bank every single day, because especially if you have a proven product or if you have a proven marketing strategy that you know converts for your business. And this is why I'm always preaching business credit to my business owners and entrepreneurs that watch me. Then instead of using your debit card to run ads, or instead of getting stuck because maybe you only have $4,000 in your ad budget to your debit card, but you have an Amex that maybe doesn't have a limit, or that's maybe more of a charge card type of approach where you can run it up 40, 50 grand in that month. But you know, and again, this is where the responsibility comes into play. But you know that that 40 to 50 grand is going to yield you at least 70 to 75,000 in sales. Why wouldn't I take advantage of the 4x points, and why wouldn't I run up those points and get paid to pretty much service my clients anyways? It's pretty much a win-win, because the bank gets me as a loyal customer and I get to grow my business at the same time. Now, like anything else, look, I'm not calling you lesser than or a worse human being because maybe you're not using your credit card like you should be versus a debit card, because quite frankly, there's really two things happening on the back end. Either one, you don't have access to higher credit funding or higher credit limits, or number two, you just don't trust yourself, which is why I am a strong advocate of when you use credit the right way, it kind of puts you in a space where you have to start tracking better, because now you aren't just using your money, you're using someone else's money to grow your money. So take this for what it is. I'm not telling you to go out there and tack on large amounts of debt, especially if you're not going to use that money to help you build out your portfolio, to help you make more money and to scale your income. I don't just want you going out there and getting a credit card just because I saw this video and now I'm going to put everything that I purchased on a credit card, but it's not really going to work for me on the back end. No. Study the type of credit cards that you're actually going to use. Study the rewards, study their travel points, study the type of payment cycles that they operate in, because if you're using a charge card, that could be totally different from using a regular revolving credit card where you can carry the balance, but with the charge card, you can't necessarily carry a balance. And the last thing that I would want anyone to do, especially if you're watching my channel, is to put yourself in a place where you can't pay your bills. So if you found value in this content, and if you're interested in more credit style content, then I am going to leave a link for you, or really a playlist for you to check out right here. You'll probably see it put across your screen. If you found value in this content, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Join the official community. Don't forget that anytime I'm not posting on here, I'm posting over on the Inside with Irv show. So if you like what I have going on over here, you'll love what I have going on over there. Once again, I appreciate you guys checking me out. Till next time, everyone, I will see you in the next video.